We have found that it is important to build on positive cultural traditions can be powerful leverage of change. From Bangladesh to Ghana to Mali, the age-old practice of consulting with village elders, usually men, but also sometimes women, has been cultivated to begin to eliminate violence against girls and women. In the work we do, we take a right-based approach. This means doing more than supporting the provision of services. It means encouraging people to become civic and political actors, to demand and claim their rights, and work for the rights of others. In Colombia, this approach brought individuals in communities to draw the connections between the rights related to one's own body as the minimal space over which people can exercise their dignity, to broader rights in the civic and political sphere. We also work hard to partner with men, and this was mentioned this morning too, because they are perpetrators of violence against women, and they are also key to bringing about change. And not all men are perpetrators of violence. This does not mean we are diluting our demands. It means giving space to men to be part of the solution and create change that is credible and sustainable. It is not easy, and it's time-consuming, and it requires continuous dialogue and conversations. But it can be done, and it should be done. In Turkey, the National Football Federation became a major partner in a campaign to stop violence against women. During the height of the football season, a captive audience of Turkish men sitting in front of their TV sets watched as players donned T-shirts and paraded banners to stop violence against women. This was reinforced with a media campaign in which the largest Turkish newspaper came to recognize that it was actually a major contributor to the sexist attitudes that perpetrate violence against women through the media reports that it has. And the newspaper now evaluates articles from a gender perspective and has instituted related training for its reporters. People are often willing to adopt new attitudes, behaviors, or practices if they are convinced that such change will improve their lives. We see this clearly in Senegal, which may soon be the first country to abandon FGM. They've done it through human rights dialogue in the community level, leading to public declarations against female genital cutting by a large group of villagers. 256 villages made the pledge just last month. The country reports a decline in prevalence, and out of 5,000 villages, more than 4,200 have abandoned the practice. This centuries-old, deeply rooted practice is being uprooted by communities themselves. This is the power of communities powering change, because they know best how to go about it in their own contextual activism. And in Yemen, where you hear lots of horrible stories right now, we are working with the Ministry of Awqaf, Religious Endowment, and Religious Guidance in helping to raise public awareness about reproductive health and the harmful effects of forced early marriage. A source book on reproductive health produced by the government guides muftis, imams, and other religious leaders on handling sensitive topics among their followers. Working with progressive interpretations of religious texts is a process that requires much discussion and knowledge, but it has to be done. There are women of faith from many, many religions who are trying to interpret religious texts from a feminist point of view, and they need the support. They get little support, and they need the support of many networks, and we are among the ones who are trying to provide the support. In India, where we are working to eliminate sex selection, legislation had to be complemented by a broad awareness-raising campaign, including, of course, human rights activists, as well as cultural agents of change and community leaders, calling for recognition of the human rights and inherent dignity and worth of girls. Publishing data increased understanding of prenatal sex selection, not only as a cultural issue, but one with social, economic, and demographic dimensions. Given the imbalance in the sex ratio, men may face difficulties in finding wives, which may lead to increased levels of gender-based violence and human trafficking. It is also important to work with health partners to address violence against women. Based on our work in the field, we have found that faith-based organizations provide anywhere between 40 to 60% of health-related services in some of the least developed countries. Therefore, it becomes imperative to work with these service providers, ensuring that beneficiaries are empowered to bring about the relevant change. In 2008, we established a global and regional networks for interfaith, and we had 7 religions connected to one another, not to discuss theology, but rather to look at what they are doing in practical terms as service delivery bodies, to work towards mutual goals to ensure that every pregnancy is wanted, every birth is safe, every person is free of HIV, and every girl and woman lives free of violence and indignity. We believe that strategic partnership with civil society, including human rights, women, and faith-based organizations, to name a few, will expand the domains of support and engagement for human rights in an age of a growing extremism. And I say isms of all kinds in the political, religious, and the social fields. And we in the United Nations actively, and I hope all of you will do the same, support the Secretary General campaign Unite to End Violence Against Women and the network of men leaders that was launched last year. For those of us mobilizing for women's rights and eliminating violence against women, we have no choice. We must work from within the realm of what societies themselves can bring to their own lives, change for a better life for everybody. I thank you very much.